Hello everybody, I'm Jonathan Laster, and joining me today is Captain Blaine Horton of the Lake City Fire Department, and it's time for another edition of In a Lake City Minute.
Glad to be back.
It's been a while since we've had John. You've had a few changes since last time you sat in that chair.
Yeah, a few, not too many. I stepped into the fire inspector and training officer role at the fire department and been navigating that change of life, and as well as 2 kids. So
How are you enjoying the new role?
I like it. It's challenging. Still learning how to do some different things with the training officer side and the new parts of doing fire inspections.
As you know, summertime is here. Recording this today, it's 91 degrees outside right now. It's supposed to be a hot weekend. But, 4th of July is coming up, and we always talk about summer fire safety tips. What are some of those tips you can give our audience today?
First and foremost, stay hydrated. Don't drink and drive. Fireworks safety, you don't want to store a whole bunch of fireworks and be shooting other fireworks towards where you have fireworks stored, as well as grilling, and you want to make sure your grill's good and clean. You're not having a whole bunch of grease in the bottom of it that could light off and start a grease fire on your grill, as well as you don't want to be grilling up next to your stored fireworks. So.
And this should be simple knowledge for everybody, but just a reminder, don't ignite fireworks in a closed structure as well.
No, please don't. And also don't grill inside of an enclosed structure.
Yep, and that's just a few ways to keep safe, because 4th of July is on a Friday this year, so everybody's going to have a long weekend. Probably the celebrations are going to ramp up a little more, so just there's a few ways out there to stay safe. And as we're in June now, Blaine, that also leads to hurricane season. And so, right around the end of August, usually whenever we have some big storms come in, what are some safety tips during hurricane season that everybody needs to be aware of going forward?
Well, you should always have your emergency kit, put together, and have extra batteries, water, some shelf-stable food. That way, if you are without power, you have some provisions in line, as well as some spare cash, that you can keep. That way, if ATMs were down, you did have to venture out to buy something. But when these storms come around, 90% of the time, what we recommend the most is for people to stay in a safe location and don't be out traveling to look, or, everybody wants to know what's going on.
And 2 big things during storm times people use, which also does provide a little bit of a hazard, are candles and generators. What are some tips for those who may be, like I said, they're trying to prepare at the last second and trying to get their candles out, trying to get their generators ready to help keep them and their homes and families safe?
Absolutely. Candles, if you're going to have to use a candle, you want to make sure it's got proper spacing away from curtains or, the wall, or anything flammable for that matter. You don't want to set them on the end table next to your chair or your couch. And generators, you want to make sure they have a ventilated space that they can be in, or, even outside. But you don't want that air being in the same that you're breathing, so not in the garage or anything like that. If you have a covered patio or somewhere you can put it, that's great. But at the same time, you need to make sure that you have it wired properly. For that, I would recommend calling an electrician.
And don't do any DIY electrical work when it comes to these things.
Please don't.
I imagine y'all have seen some things in your day.
We have.
And going towards that too, make sure you stay safe. We mentioned don't do fireworks and don't grill inside your house. Definitely don't bring a generator inside your house neither.
No, we don't want anybody getting carbon monoxide poisoning. One of the things about carbon monoxide poisoning is, death from carbon monoxide inhalation, is you don't really realize it's going on your oxygen starts depleting, and you get tired, whatever, and lay down, and that's it.
Yes, make sure you stay safe. And like I said, we had storms come up last week that affected some people. Now, like back home, that some people were out of power without an entire day. So they had their generator going and all that. Make sure you have proper enough gasoline to get you through a storm too, is one thing. That's correct. With the generator as well. So, what exciting things y'all have coming up in the world of Lake City Fire Department?
So we just got back from pre-construction on our new engine 1111, which is our first out engine. We're looking forward to receiving that apparatus. That was a CBDG grant, so no money from the city, but it did require us to go to Bradenton, Florida, and we were there 3 days, going back and forth with the Pierce Company and our representative on things that we needed or, we didn't need, or just planning everything out, trying to provide better fire protection.
How long does it take for a fire truck to be constructed?
Right now, you're looking at a 3-year lead time from the get-go. So by the time you get one, it's usually time to start planning another one.
So pretty much cycles every 3 years to expect either a new engine or the process to begin a new engine.
You should try. The NFPA recommends every 10 years that you replace an apparatus. We still do have some older apparatus we're working on, updating. But we have been moving in a better direction under the leadership of Chief Driggers. So.
Very good. And I noticed something a while back in the fire department. You showed me videos of it actually in operation, is that old school fire truck y'all have in the
1936. Yes, so it does run. We haven't tried to pump it. It is, like I said, 1936, so it's coming up on 100 years old. But
it's got an open top.
It is an open cab. We enjoyed the truck, and it still needs a few things to be parade ready, but that's typically what we would use that truck for now, would be a parade, not anything of firefighting nature anymore.
Well, hopefully you'll see the 1936 engine come out sometime soon. And Blaine, thank you so much for joining us. Well, I promise it won't be as long before we get you back in the chair next time.
Absolutely.
And that's it for this edition of In a Lake City Minute. We will see you in the next episode.